Hello, everyone, and welcome to Diary of a Sales Engineer, episode 21. I'm Ryan Kruger with my favorite co host.
Samir Sahai Gosser, and today we are going to talk about going from a demo monkey to a strategic partner as an SC. There's been a lot of chatter recently about sales engineers earning their seat at the table or deserving a seat at the table. And we thought it was important to talk about what you need to do to actually get it. We're not just going to be handed a seat at the table, we got to earn it. And so to kick us off, I wanted to just start with something I've heard a little bit more recently that kind of rubs me a little bit the wrong way, and it's when SCs say things like "that's not my job." Before we started this, I kind of said that to Ryan, and I know he was like, "Oh my god, that hits." So, Ryan, what does it make you feel when you hear me say "that's not my job"?
Oh, well, as a self proclaimed workaholic myself, that's not my job, is not in my vocabulary per se, but I have actually seen this from SEs in the past. And I have seen SEs actually push back on account executives in certain ways, say, that's not my job, or to push back on SE leadership, say, that's not my job. And at the end of the day, the SE role, and we've explored this many times here on the podcast, is one of those integral roles at the company where you touch a lot of different aspects of the business. And so you're going to be tasked with things that constantly kind of feel like that's not my job, whether it's from customer support because you have live customers that need help. And guess what? You're one of the best resources that can help with that. You and I both have done some marketing for companies before. And at times you're like, wait a second, I signed up to be a sales engineer. I'm supposed to do demos. I don't do like webinars, keynotes, different industry leading events. I personally love doing those things. And look, that's a great way to earn a seat at the table, is to like raise your hand and go give a keynote. Think about what it does for your personal brand too, to go and be a keynote speaker somewhere and be able to network and meet with some really incredible individuals and have that towards your resume. Now, like, it doesn't just stop there between marketing and customer support. There are 1,000 other different things that you can get pulled into. Maybe it's actually working with the product team to actually build or work on or workshop what the product gap functionality is that a prospect is asking about that's becoming a deal blocker before they sign. Well, you as the SE should actually be the one gathering those requirements. Maybe an SE raises their hand and says, hey, wait a second, that's not my job. I'm not a product person. That's fair. We aren't technically product people, but because we're in this role, we cover all those things. So if you want a seat at the table, this is your opportunity to go and actually earn the seat. Because guess what happens for the leadership at the company when they see you get pulled in to the product side and you actually help shape the way the roadmap looks or work on a new product feature that becomes productized? Well, that's great for you and your brand internally. If you do the marketing stuff, the webinars, the industry events, you're driving revenue, you're driving new people and new eyeballs. It's another great way to actually earn the respect from leadership to say, I actually really care about what Ryan has to say about X topic. So these are ways that I think like SEs can find a way to really stand out at the company. And I also think like for me, if I see somebody say, hey, like that's just not my job, I don't know. Like that just like freaks me out a bit.
Yeah, our job description is very fluid. But if I were to sum it up, our job is to help close revenue. Our job is to win deals and close revenue. One of the things I heard recently that really stuck was SEs win deals, AEs close them. And I think that's very accurate in the sense of we have to do, in order to win a deal, there's multiple things that we have to do that may not be within the domain of our job description. And like you said, going to marketing events, that puts our name, our company out there. Getting those product gaps, that helps actually close the deal because the customer won't sign without these product gaps. Going and saying, hey, product, this is coming your way. We just closed them. In 6 months, they expect us to produce this. That was contingent on the deal. Very important. If we are coming to the table with saying that, hey, We see every time we're in a competitive situation with our number one competitor, this is one thing that comes up. Here's how we can tackle it. And all of a sudden, now the AE and the sales leadership is like, oh, wow, Ryan has a point of view and a strategy of how we can win more deals. I want to keep Ryan coming back into our pipeline reviews, our QBRs, because he has an insight and a perspective of how we can ultimately close more revenue. One thing that I've started to do, especially as I progressed more as an SE in my career, at first it was just like, okay, AE would hit me up. Sweet, we have a demo. Hey, do you have any information? No. Okay, we'll do like light discovery, and then I'll give my out of the box demos, kind of whatever. It was working. We were closing deals, but I was very much just kind of coasting in the sense of not being an active member of the selling team, just more of a, hey, Samir, are you free? Oh, we have this demo. Jump on, demo happens, and then I'm out. But what I realized is once I started taking ownership of the deal and saying, hey, actually, after that demo, I feel like they really resonated. Their eyes lit up on this part. Like we should lean into that. Or hey, like AE, why do you think they were asking the questions this way? That kind of tells me that there might be someone on the outside that is influencing that maybe we haven't talked to. Maybe we should go and strategize with them. And now all of a sudden, I'm not just someone they're bringing in as a demo monkey. I'm someone where we are talking together of, hey, did you notice that one like little nuance and the way they ask the question? You know, me and you have worked deals like this many times, but no one has really phrased it that way. Oh, maybe we should dig into that. And turns out there was a broader goal within the company that might have been missed if I just kept quiet and was like, oh yeah, it's the AE's job to push this forward. I did my job. I gave like the technical side. Um, and as soon as I started doing that, then I was invited because it was like, oh, wow, he has valuable information that'll help me hit my quota. That'll help the team hit the number. And then all of a sudden you become more of a go-to person and less of just someone who comes in and does a demo.
Yeah, let's actually dive a little bit further into this because I'll actually walk through some of the things that I do that I think are really beneficial for just like the sort of introduction for an SE that wants to maybe have a seat at the table, some things that you can start doing to actually like make your way there. The first thing that I do is I partner with my reps so closely. And what I mean by that is that everything I do with my rep, we are in lockstep sync on. We strategize pretty much every single day. I will be on a call with my reps that I work with, and we'll be talking about for this particular deal, what are we doing for them? What's the latest update? How are we going to win this deal? What are the ways that we are going to win this deal? If there's new things that are coming up, product limitations, whatever it is, I'm relaying that back to them saying, hey, here's where we're at. Let's strategize. How are we going to present it? How do we want to present it? How do we want to actually address that topic? So these are immediate things that I think every SE can and should be doing with their reps because it will help you sell more effectively because you two will be on the exact same page. By doing this, you start to build your credibility with your reps very intimately, where once it becomes time for your sort of like sales recaps, your QBRs, your reviews, what your reps naturally are going to do, they're going to send you all of those decks prior and say, hey, Ryan, would you mind just like giving this a pass over? I just want to make sure like you're in agreement on what I'm going to present back to the business. So I'll actually review those decks. I'll sit down and say, okay, yeah, this all looks pretty good. And then I'll offer some feedback. Hey, look, you have this opportunity in best case. I don't think I agree with that. We've only met with them one time. Yeah, we had a pretty good demo, but we're not really with an executive. We don't have line of sight into power. I don't really feel like that's great. They'll actually just naturally pull that and say, you're right. We should eliminate that, right? Or we'll have a conversation, right? And say, well, I need to have it in best case for this reason. Okay, that's great. But just so you know, if you present this to the business and say it's best case, when that time comes during the QBR, the review, I'm going to step in and say, I don't necessarily agree that it should be in best case for these reasons. Are we okay with that, right? Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to drive a wedge between me and the rep, right?
Mm-hmm.
You and the rep, you and the rep are like the best relationship that you ever had to have. They have to become your best friend. They have to become your partner at work. And so what you don't want to do is get on one of those calls and step on their toes and say, no, 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 that's not going to work without them knowing that it's coming, because immediately it's going to drive friction. And the second it drives friction, then like that friction will be felt to external prospects from the actual demo itself. Or that friction is going to be felt when you guys want to actually convene on strategy and you say, hey, look, there's this product limitation. Here's the way that I would like to pitch it and frame it. They're going to say, no, 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 just tell them we can do it. I don't feel comfortable doing it. I don't want it. That's not what I want to do. Right. So then you're butting heads. Then you have to loop in leadership, right? SE leadership has to come in. Sales leadership has to come in. Then we have to powwow it all out. How's that helping anybody, right? It doesn't help anyone. But when you do those little things, you immediately get dragged into having a seat at the table, because now sales leadership's like, hey, well, Ryan is partnered so closely with his reps that every single time we go on these reviews, I see Ryan's name on here. I got notes from Ryan. We have conversations about these different deals and reviews. So then guess what happened? Sales leadership starts reaching out to me, say, hey, Ryan, I see that you're working this opportunity. I just want to know, like, what's your feedback on it? Hey, here's how I feel about it. Like, I think it's really good. I think we're progressing really nicely. But to be clear, we haven't gotten the line of sight into power yet, meaning like there's still work to be done. So are we going to be able to close this opportunity in 4 weeks? We haven't even had a legal review. I'm just going to flat out tell you, like, I've done enough of this. We're probably not going to. Could things get accelerated? Sure. But like, we'd have to have you lean in and help us get there. And I just don't think leaning in at this point is going to be a good choice.
I want to pause there real quick, because it takes a certain level of confidence to go and actually almost like have the guts to like say that to sales leadership. I know when I like first started, I was like intimidated as hell by like the VP of sales and like the SVP of sales. Like, these guys were very scary to me. And I guess I don't know if you had that same feeling, but what was there anything that helped you build the confidence where you could be like, hey, I disagree, especially when you have to disagree. Like, is there anything that's helped you? I have something that's might have helped me, but like, I'm curious to know, because what you just said is beautiful, but it's also, if you've never done it before as an SC, like we are naturally a little bit more timid than AEs. I mean, just kind of by like our role and like always wanting to help and like being there to connect the dots but to go and say, hey, I shouldn't be in best case because of XYZ. Like, what are things that you've seen that's helped you like overcome and like build that confidence up?
Yeah. One is actually a tip I stole from you at the previous company we were at together. Was when you had started at the company, I had actually noticed by just doing some calendar creeping, you'd actually scheduled one-on-one meetings with a lot of the executives, a lot of the sales leadership, and things that I actually hadn't done to that capacity because I was too timid to do so. I was like, oh, I don't want to put time on their calendar. It's just, maybe I'm not supposed to do it. And then I saw you doing it. And I'm like, and I remember we had a conversation. You're like, yeah, man, like you want to get time with these people. You want to start building those relationships. And so that's like tip one, is like get on their radar at a personal level for sure. Like kick off just a natural relationship, and just that helps like accelerate things as well. Right. So I think that's just like a very, very small thing. The second thing for me to get confidence, I think like early on in my career, it's hard to be super confident on those things because you're experiencing things for the first time. So your gut check feeling if a deal is going to close or not close or when it's going to close, you don't have like a great line of sight into that yet. So I think that's a little bit harder at the beginning of your career to really have that full understanding. I do think success helps, right? Like driving business, driving revenue, becoming that credible resource where they're like, wow, we're winning a lot of deals. I see Ryan's name, I see Samir's name associated to these wins, constantly getting great feedback from the field where they're saying amazing things about the work that they did as a part of this. Those things help you get really confident to then start pushing back. But you have to take the initiative to push back. I think the reason why SEs get pushed into this demo monkey frame set is they let it happen. They let it happen. They just like become almost submissive to the reps to say, okay, that's fine. What you want, I'll do. What you want, I'll do. I'll show up. I'll do my demo. I'm not going to ask open-ended questions. I'm not going to dive a little bit deeper into discovery to find out a little bit more about the challenge or gap in functionality or around what you really want. I'm actually not going to actually frame up this in a little bit more sales like conversation because I'll wait for my rep to do it. I'm not going to pick up the phone and actually call one of our prospects because that's the rep's job. These are all things that I do. Like I literally, I will call my prospects. I will text my prospects. I will send messages. I am doing a lot of the work that an AE will do as a part of our deal because guess what? It helps us sell more effectively together. I'm multi-threading the opportunity throughout. So that way I'll actually gather information that my rep otherwise may not be privy to and say like, hey, look, we should have a strategy. Like you didn't know this came up. I do. We should talk about it. Let's get together, right? Let's strategize. So I do think like success helps. I do think just like you have got to not, it's a partnership. It's a partnership. It's not, you know, I don't know the other term for this, but like where one person gets all the say, right? It is truly a 50-50 partnership. You have got to let your voice be heard. And if you let the rep step over, then like you're continually going to be driven in a way that they want you to be. And you will be the demo monkey where they just say, hey, I got a demo in 3 hours. You ready? Great. Probably not going to win that opportunity.
Yeah, I think one thing that I was always confused is we were always told like the AE is the quarterback of the deal. And in my mind, for whatever reason, I was like, okay, the quarterback is always the one calling the plays and everyone's kind of just following along. But if you think about it more, like the greatest players are pushing back on the quarterback. Like if the fullback or the wide receiver is like, no, dude, I'm getting slammed on that end. Like we can't run that play because we're just gonna get torched. And the quarterback's like, okay, actually, like we'll adjust it, but that requires that the other member, aka us as the SEs, to be like, hey, no, dude, we're gonna get slammed if we try to run it that way. Like these people are not into the jokes. Like we cannot lean into our humorous side because they're very straight to the point. And coming with that shift is huge. And I think what you said was really important. I will pick up the phone and call my prospect or text them or have a side conversation with them in multi-thread. For a long time, I felt like that was out of place, but that's actually absolutely in place as an SC. When we come in as the kind of the technical advisor, the person who understands, we get information that the AE can't because the AE has an account executive title. Like straight up, like they are the sales rep. For whatever reason, the prospect will talk to the sales rep in one way, they'll talk to us in a different way. And as the more tenured AEs I work with know that exact thing, that as an SE, I have separate insight and access. And if I'm not leveraging that, especially for your big enterprise deals that are 6 months, 12 months, 18 months sales cycles, and you are multi-threading, and all of a sudden I have made friends with the technical side and they've made friends with certain other parts of the buying team, and then us gathering the data and piecing together this puzzle, that's just like a missed opportunity if you're not having these one-off conversations with your prospect as an SC. That being said, you have to be transparent with your AE that you're doing it. So like they are not caught off guard. And something that I've started to do that was inspired by my current boss is this concept of INCFU, in case of no contact follow-up.
Oh, I was wondering. I was wondering where that acronym was going. I was like, oh, well, I'm surprised. Okay.
In
Continue
case
on.
no contact follow-up. And that can be as simple as follow up with my rep, follow up with my prospect, follow up with the product team, depending on where you are in the sales cycle. And what it forces you to do is now I am putting an action on my list of, if I hear nothing for the next week, what is my next step going to be as my part of the deal? And if my next step is just reaching out to the AE and saying, hey, what's going on with the deal? That's showing that I'm actively involved in it. Like imagine that you do a demo, AE has something on their plate, and you're just out. 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, nothing's happening. You're not saying anything. AE's not saying anything. Does AE think you're actually a strategic partner on the deal? Or do they think that you're here to help support them? Not really. You've kind of forgotten about it because they've quote unquote forgotten about it. But all of a sudden, a week later, it's like, hey, we had that demo last week. Like, were you able to reach out with XYZ, or were we able to get access to this person? And all of a sudden, now the AE is like, oh, Samir's here with me, like reminding me. As an AEs are working multiple deals just like we are. So having just another reminder, another set of eyes is beneficial for everyone trying to close this deal. And at the end of the day, our job is to close revenue, like by almost whatever means necessary. That means I have to do marketing work. That means I have to do sales work. That means I have to do product work, like engineering work, support work. If it's going to close the business or keep the business, like I am there.
Can I pound my fist on the table moment here? Okay. If I have to ask my rep for an update regarding a deal, something's wrong. Something's wrong. You're not like the relationship with your rep isn't either good enough, or I guess I'm trying to figure out how to like really phrase this up. There's been times in my career where I've actually experienced this. We're working a deal, things are going well. A week goes by, no contact. That's fine. It's natural part of sales. 2 weeks goes by, no contact. I want to know, has there been an update? Have you talked to anybody? Have you gotten on the
We
phone
tried.
with someone? Have you sent out emails and you haven't got a response? I want to know those things. 2 weeks of no updates. What does that tell me as the SE? It tells me like, hey, this deal is completely dead. And then guess what happens? 4 or 5 weeks later, like, hey, by the way, they're back on. And it's like, well, actually, I've kind of taken that deal and I've thrown it to the back just pits of my mind because I was thinking it wasn't going anywhere. We haven't been in contact. You haven't updated me regarding this opportunity. My goal is to win. I want to win. So if things were going well and now we have no contact, I want to know why. You should never have to ask your rep for an update regarding a specific deal. You guys should be in contact just every day. Messages back and forth. By the way, I just heard from this person. If they're not doing that, you need to sit down with your rep, pull them aside and say, look, I've been listening to Diary of a Sales Engineer. These guys are telling me like we need to be messaging every single day, and we're not. We're
Mm-hmm.
messaging once or twice a week. I think I'm your demo monkey. I don't want to be a demo monkey. We need to build a better relationship. When you get an update, when you talk to one person on a 15-minute call, I want to know. When you send an email and somebody's responded, I want to be CC'd. Sure is a lot of noise in my inbox. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Maybe I don't read through all of them, but that's okay. I want to know that there's contact. If those things aren't happening for you, I am strongly, strongly encouraging you, sit down with your rep and say, what is wrong? We need to figure this out. I want those kinds of updates. I want to have a great relationship with you because guess what? I am here to support you and I'm here to help you win. And if your rep isn't receptive of that, my guess is they're just a bad rep.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be one of those reps that's just not very successful.
Or they're not doing that stuff, and like then that's a whole other conversation. But I think setting that expectation up front is a huge call out. Where even hey, AE, even if you're doing something small, hey, I just shot them a note. We haven't heard back from them. I shot them a note. Didn't CC you on it just because I'm trying to, it was just a one-on-one email. Okay, cool, great. We're doing something. Hey, okay, you shot them a note. Should I shoot the other person on the call something separate just so we can see if one of them bites? And now all of a sudden we're both doing something together because I know my AE is reaching out to this character this person on the deal, and I'm reaching out to this other person on the deal, and now we're doing it together and strategically approaching the deal. So that's an excellent point where if you guys are already not in contact, yes, that's a big red flag. And you do it, reaching out to the rep asking for an update shouldn't be the case. Sometimes you're going to have to do it. I think that I've heard SEs being like, why should I be the one following up? It's like, sometimes you have to. Should you be? That's not the right question. It's like, is this the action that's going to help push the deal forward? If the answer is yes, do it. Like that's I think we have to shift the frame as a whole, because it's our mindset as well. Like, yes, AEs have a job. Yes, they have to do their job. Our job is also to close revenue. And if this action is going to help us get there, it's not out of our purview. And I think that's what bothers me the most.
I'm going to actually take something on for the two of us. I hate to like nominate you live in real time, right? I am going to actually throw this out there. If you are an SE and you talk to your AE and you say, hey, I think it'd be great for me to reach out, call, email, text this person as a part of our deal to help us multi-thread and win this thing. And if your AE says, no, I don't want my SE doing any of those kinds of activities, you could go ahead, tell them to reach out on LinkedIn to either Samir or I. We'll get on a call. And I am happy to have that conversation on why I truly believe that is not the right approach here. The more people you are talking to at the organization gives you the ability to build more champions at that organization. It gives you the ability to uncover more business pain and focus on the business outcomes. It allows you to do better discovery into what actually matters to them, as well as who at the company it really matters to. And if your rep doesn't want you doing those things, I think it's just a missed opportunity to help you sell more effectively. So if your rep is saying those things, feel free, shoot them this clip. Shoot them this clip exactly. Say, hey, Ryan or Samir is willing to get on a call and say, let's talk about it. Happy to have that conversation. Maybe come on the podcast. Actually, we can do like a live thing. You want to be the rep that wants to have that conversation live? Come on the podcast.
Yeah, 100%. Come on the podcast. I know this is not like a perfect analogy, but as you were saying that, it reminded me of like the whole like good cop, bad cop strategy that people will do in order to like interrogate and get information out. Not saying that there's a good cop, bad cop in like a sales situation, but having multiple voices allows your prospect to give you different answers depending on who they're talking to, because they have a different sense of comfort. And if you're not using that to your advantage in order to understand all of the, like, there's politics going behind the scenes in every company. There is like so many other things that are happening outside of just like the technology that you have to understand, especially when you're selling to enterprise. Because as we know, there are 8, 9, 10, 11 decision makers, and you have to get a yes from all of them, and they all care about something different. And if I can get you 2 or 3 more people in that list and what they care about, like, why would you not want that?
It's everything is about, you said like AE is the quarterback, and I hate that terminology. I genuinely do, because I just don't really believe that's the way that it all works out. I think there's a better analogy somewhere else, and maybe in a different field of sport anyways, but like that's just not the right way of approaching it. We're a partnership. Like it's not one person gets all the glory. There's one thing that I would say, like in sales engineering, that I would love to see changed in the next year or two, is that when deals are won, it's not all about the account executive, because the SE is doing a lot of work to help that deal move forward. Yet you'll see, like, all the praise goes out to the AE, right? Like there is this kind of like fame of glory of being the AE, which I just like don't genuinely agree with. That's why I don't like the terminology of like the quarterbacking the deal, because it is a true partnership. It is back and forth. It is collaboration. It is meetings. It is strategizing. It is identifying the pain you want to focus on. It's thinking about the demo script, but working with your rep on it. Like there are times where maybe in my mind, I'm thinking about a demo script, and my rep will actually offer insight to say, hey, actually, like I would really like if we focus on this. That's a great call out. You know what? I was thinking about something else, and I totally forgot. That'd be a great thing to include. You're right. I'd love to do that. Or they'll say like, hey, I think we should include something like this. And maybe I'll push back and say, you know what? I actually think it'd be better if that came from you. So during the demo, when that flow comes up, what I would love for you to do, I would love for you to interject and bring something up. There's a great customer story. I think that customer story will actually come better if it's from you. And especially, I'm going to be talking for a long time in that demo. So it'd be very helpful for me for you to jump in and actually give a 2-minute customer story. I think it will be better for you. Oh, that's great. When do you want me to do it? Well, look, I'm not going to tell you the exact like word to say that, fill it out. But I think during this section,
around this area,
I think there'll be a natural one. And if you work with your reps, they'll know exactly when that pacing and when that time comes, and they'll just feel right in. You'll have this natural harmony, right? Like you'll just have it all. Like I don't necessarily think the AE is the quarterback of all this thing. I think like you both are like calling the plays. You both are sitting down, you're strategizing, you're working towards everything. Maybe it's like offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. I don't know if I'm in like the right state of mind to determine what this is. Maybe that will be something I'll challenge myself on, to like think of a really great analogy. Maybe we'll change that, right? We'll change that for the pre-sales world. I hate this.
It's like tennis doubles or pickleball doubles.
I don't know anything about tennis though. Like honestly, I'm a big sports guy. Tennis is just not my thing.
Tennis is not there. But it reminds me, there's that movie, and I'm blanking on the name, but it's like it requires two humans to be in these like big, mega, like robot things that they control, and it requires two pilots that co-pilot it, and they both like have to be on the same page because the robot is so large and massive that it requires two brains to function. That's what it reminds me of. And without one, like you can't do it on your own. Both of you have to be in lockstep. You have to be going the right way. Like literally yesterday, I was having a conversation with my AE, and he was like, "You know what? We talked earlier this week, and I think that our approach is actually, let's do something different." And we talked, and I was like, "Actually, that's a really good idea. Like, let's get rid of, what we were originally going to do, and let's focus in on this one aspect because we did a little bit more research." He like uncovered some new information, and I was like, "Oh, actually, that's huge. Like, this will probably be a better call. We have 30 minutes with the high level executives. Like, let's get rid of the slides. Let's just have a conversation." And that was huge. I wouldn't have thought of that if he didn't bring it up. And like conversely, like I've had the same conversations with him. Be like, "Hey, actually, I think what we were approaching, let's try something different." And he'll listen and be like, "Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense." And all of a sudden, now we're both strategically approaching the deal. And like, I mean, two minds are better than one. You have different perspectives that are going to help on all ends.
Something I miss in the past from the previous place we were at was I had come up with like a bunch of different like crazy wonky just like new approaches to try to demo something. I was like, let's just try something way different. I want to see like if we can find something that's like a little bit more effective and just try like a new methodology, a new thing, a new way to demo this, right? And we'd sit down as an SE team and we'd say, okay, like give me your pitch on why you think this will work. Let's try it out, right? And we try it out. And if it worked, you're like, wow, okay, we like it here as an SE team. Step one. Step two, before you do this on a call, you need you need to be like in unison with your rep. Otherwise, they are going to be like, "What are you doing?" Like. But look, we tried some of those things, and some of them worked really well. Some of them didn't work as well as we thought they were going to work, right? And we do them on a few calls, and they weren't necessarily negative, but they were more just like flat, right? It's like, okay, I could just do this a different way and get the same result. But there were some of them that worked really well in certain moments and certain times in a demo. You're like, okay, well, that's actually super innovative. That's a great tool to actually have in the back pocket to pull out. When that certain situation comes up, if you demo it this way, they're going to respond really positively. But you got to have that conversation with rep too, so that way they know they're not seeing something for the very first time going on the call. What is Ryan doing? For instance, last place I was at, I did this whole like magic trick like thing where I would like take a piece of paper, I'd rip it up, I would interact with them back and forth. My rep was seeing that for the very first time. They would be like messaging their sales manager, this guy's crazy. Like, I don't even think we're demoing the product anymore. And look, and that worked really well. So there are things for you to do as an SE to be creative and try new approaches. But again, it all goes back to the relationship aspect of this. You are not just a demo monkey. You are not limited to the demo that you have today. Your goal as an SE is to actually be more creative, find new approaches to actually demo the product, come up with new slideware or new takeaways or new approaches to actually help sell the software more effectively. I actually think SEs are incredibly great at that. I think if there's something that SEs are uniquely amazing at a company is coming up with some of the best documentation and or like materials to actually give as takeaways to a business for them to actually buy the software. I think that's something that I've just seen across the board that SEs are uniquely great at. I will say, if to give your SEs time to build out those kinds of materials, they are not that easy to do. But man, some of the SEs that I have worked with, it is like these slides come exactly from marketing, but they have the SE sort of technical and sales approach on them. And they end up being some of the best piece of documentation that I have seen. That is your job as an SE, not just showing up and giving the same pre-canned demo every single day with the same pre-canned questions. And if you're doing those things, I can't imagine you're having a lot of fun. Doing all the other things is a heck of a lot.
No, absolutely. I think you hit it. Like, we make good collateral, and that's because we're just in the trenches. Like there was something I read about intuition, and intuition is just when you see something over and over again, your mind starts to automatically make those connections without you thinking about it. And that's what we call intuition. And so, like you said, we see so many things over and over again. Now we know how, okay, I know my prospect because I've talked to them so many times. If I phrase it this way, they'll understand it. And that's not like happening in our brains, like explicitly. It's implicitly happening because we have those reps. We are in the field. We hear things. We try things. We say stuff as one way, doesn't land. We say something like try to explain the same thing in a different way, but it does land. And then we're like, oh, boom. Like even that magic trick one, after we started doing that, our reps would start being like, oh yeah, hey Samir, can you show them the magic trick? And then all of a sudden the prospect's like, magic trick? What do you mean the magic trick? And then we're like, oh yeah, we are teed up. And like that was probably one of my favorite ways to go and demo was that magic trick. And then it just became a thing, which was really cool. And when you get to come up with something, test it out with your team, do it on a call, and now all of a sudden your reps are calling you out to do it in like a good way. There's nothing that beats that feeling.
It drove business.
It drove business. It drove so much business.
To it, right? Like it drove business at the end of the day. So you want the seat at the table. Come up with something amazing, or come up with an amazing way to demo something. Come up with an amazing piece of collateral and watch it start winning business. Hold on. Hey, Ryan, I'm really curious your take on this because I would love for you to build a new piece of collateral. I would actually love for you to come up with a new way of demoing this topic. Can you actually teach the other SEs at the team here how to do this? Or actually, what you did, I think that'd be great for our AEs to do. Can you teach the AEs how to do this stuff? Who's getting a seat at the table then? You are. You're naturally working your way into there just by using the skill sets that you have at your disposal. But if you just show up to work and you don't try to put yourself out there, to put yourself in that position, you're never gonna have your way of actually making it there. And you should have a seat at the table. You should feel comfortable to actually sit on a QBR and say, look, I don't agree with this. I don't think that this is the right status for this opportunity. You should be able to say those things. You should be able to voice those things. And your business and your organization should absolutely be encouraging those things. And if SEs are currently not on the QBRs and those kinds of reviews, I'd highly encourage you to get them on because you should be looking for their perspective. They're also uniquely tied into this opportunity from the technical piece to say, yeah, they thought the product was cool, but just because they thought the product was cool doesn't mean they're going to buy. That's a big difference that the SE is going to be able to feel a lot better than the AE is going to feel. So the AE says, look, I'm willing to move this into commit. They thought the product was super cool. SE comes on and says, yeah, they thought the product was cool, but there was no actual business outcome here.
Yeah. So is this a six-figure problem to solve? I don't think so. It was a cool thing to see.
It was a cool demo. It was a very cool demo, but I don't think that, right? And so I think you should definitely be there. You should be on those types of calls. You should be on those types of reviews. You should feel confident to speak up. I know that's hard. And I think that's maybe a little bit harder for us as SEs to feel that voice and get that voice at the company. But when you're at a place that encourages those things, it makes everything so much better. And I do feel like the success will come behind it too. You'll have a seat at the table. You'll be able to take that experience all over the place too.
I think if we wrap here and just sum up some of the things that we talked about, I want to call out a few things. I think one, to build that confidence, set up some calls with your sales leadership outside of just like, oh, it's a QBR or deal review. Like, hey, do a coffee chat. We've encouraged coffee chats so many times here. They become powerful. And now, hey, if I know my VP of sales in a more personal way, I'm going to be less scared to be like, hey, I disagree with this deal because I know that they also love cats like I do and they have a cat. Like, those random things that connect us as humans. So like, if you haven't done so yet, reach out to your VP of sales or the head of sales for your region and have those conversations. I think two, we have to stop thinking that's not my job. I mean, I think that's just something I've like gotten out of my brain. I start asking myself, will this task help close revenue? If the answer is yes, I'm going to go do it. And if it's something that I'm doing over and over again and it's taking away from me doing other things, that's a different conversation. And that's where you start saying, hey, like, I'm doing this. It's really helpful for the deals, but it's also not allowing me to do this other thing. That's where you start talking to your manager and you start bubbling that up. And that's more of an organizational thing. But you first have to understand what it's doing. What else would you add to just a final takeaways, Ryan?
I think like final takeaway here is partner tightly with your account executive. Do not let it be like a one-way relationship. This needs to be an equal partnership on both sides. Sit down, strategize together, figure out how to win, and take the initiative to start moving quote unquote outside of my roles and duties. Pick up the phone, call your prospects, email them, work with your account executive on that. And I'm telling you, the success will come from behind it. You just have to get on the same page with your reps. Like that's the one thing that I would say is that this is a true partnership. It's a dance. It's like you guys have got to be in harmony. If you're not in harmony and you're waiting around for 2 weeks to get an update on a deal, I don't think that you and your rep are actually on the same page.
Yeah. You should be talking to your rep almost every day, if not every day. Like
Every day, before
every
work,
day.
after work, on everything. You should know their
You're
personal
texting
life.
them,
Yes, you should know
you're
pretty much
slacking
everything about
them,
them.
you're getting Instagram DMs like every day.
They become your new best friend at work. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Well, with that, another awesome episode, and we will see you all next time.
See you, bro.
Peace.